Tottenham 3-0 Crystal Palace, Antonio Conte's men cruise to victory. Yes, it is the season of goodwill, but unfortunately for Crystal Palace their Boxing Day opponents weren't feeling very festive. Tottenham were ruthless here, no Christmas spirit whatsoever. Without head coach Patrick Vieira, who had tested positive for COVID amid the outbreak that has infiltrated their first team setup, Palace were already fearing the worst, illustrated by their attempts to have this game postponed. Their efforts fell on deaf ears with the Premier League, and Antonio Conte's men were just as unsympathetic. Palace hardly helped themselves either. Why Wilfried Zaha felt compelled to lash out at Davinson Sanchez in the 38th minute, having already picked up an earlier booking, would have been beyond Eagles assistant boss Ocean Roberts, who was standing in for Vieira on the away bench. The winger's actions are unlikely to have made his isolating boss feel any better either. Spurs boss Conte will certainly empathize with Vieira, who had an open line of communication to the Palace bench on Sunday. The Italians' own team were gripped by their own COVID surge earlier this month, which cost them their place in Europe. Conte will appreciate Palace's predicament, but only to a point. He has bigger fish to fry. Tottenham are on a roll. Conte's team remain undefeated domestically since his arrival as Nuno Espirito Santo's replacement last month. Tottenham, 3-4-3, Loris 6.5, Sanchez 7, Dyer 7, Tanganga 7, Royal 7.5, Skip 7, Hodgberg 7.5, Ndombele 78, Regulian 7, Moura 9, Kane 7.5, Bergwijn 64, 6, Son 7.5, Gill 76. Subs: Galini, Doherty, Winks, Gill, Roden, Ali, Davies. Goals: Kane 32, Moura 34, Son 74. Bookings: Sanchez. Manager: Conte, 8 Crystal Palace, 4-3-3, Butland 6, Ward 6, Anderson 5, Tompkins 5.5, Mitchell 6.5, Ferguson 82, Gallagher 6.5, Schlupp 75, Kuiate 6, Hughes 6, Hayes 6, Edward 5.5, Mateta 63, Zaha 4. Subs: Matthews, Gehi, Kelly, Riedwald. Bookings: Tompkins. Red, Zaha. Manager: Roberts, 6 Referee: Jonathan Moss 6 Attendance: 40,539 Spurs appeared headed for another season of ineptitude and discontent. Instead, they head towards 2022 with an air of excitement and anticipation. A Carabao Cup semi-final against Chelsea is on the horizon, a game that will inevitably mean an awful lot to Conte, or at least his pride. Perhaps more pertinently for Tottenham, they are in the thick of the race for a top 4 place and a return to Champions League football. And while Conte may lament UEFA's decision to effectively eliminate his team from the European Conference League last week because they could not rearrange their postponed clash against Rennes before the December 31 deadline, the ruling could well be a blessing in disguise. We all saw how Chelsea benefited from having no European distractions under Conte during the 2016-17 season. Now, no one is suggesting Tottenham are going to win the Premier League, but a top 4 finish would be viewed as a major triumph, certainly by Daniel Levy. Of course, bigger tests lie ahead for Conte, but the signs so far are entirely promising. In his own understated way, Conte tried to keep a lid on growing expectations after the victory, saying, "For sure we have to continue to improve, to exploit the confidence that is going to improve us. We know very well, I know very well, we have a big job to do. It's good to get 3 points, to score 3 goals with your 3 strikers. It's good to keep another clean sheet. But we know very well we have to work very hard to improve the situation. We could have scored more than 3, but there was a lot of very positive things. Now we have to recover and make the best decision for the next starting 11. Conte isn't fooling anyone, though. This is a team on an upward trajectory. Yet, had Jordan Ayew kept his composure when set up by Odsonne Edouard inside the opening minute, then things may have turned out differently. But from there on in, Spurs turned the screw. Jack Butland was at full stretch to deny Heung-min Son's low shot in the 3rd minute before Olivier Skip saw his effort whiz narrowly wide soon after. And it wasn't long before Tottenham were ahead, Lucas Moura's inch-perfect square ball dispatched ruthlessly by Harry Kane. It was only the England captain's 3rd top-flight goal of the season, a dismal return given his incredible standards. Contrastingly, however, this was Kane's 2nd Premier League goal in as many matches, a positive sign for Tottenham and an ominous one for the club's rivals. Moura turned goalscorer just 2 minutes later as he sprung emphatically, albeit with a running jump, above Joachim Andersen to nod home Emerson Royal's cross. Roberts, assisted by highly rated first-team coach Sean Derry, will have asked questions as to how Maura, at 5 feet 7 inches, was able to beat 6 feet 4 inches Anderson in aerial combat. But that was a mere sideshow. All that mattered here was that Tottenham, inside 35 minutes, were home and hosed. Maura, unquestionably, has been one of the standout performers during Conte's revolution so far. The Brazilian enters the final 2 years of his contract this summer. Stick or twist time for Spurs and Levy. On this evidence, Tottenham should be looking to secure his long-term future as a matter of priority. Even if Palace harbored any hopes of a comeback, they were dashed by the petulance of Zaha, who inexplicably threw his hands in the face of Sanchez to pick up a second yellow in the 37th minute. The look on the Ivorian's face suggested that he'd been the victim of an outrageous injustice. You'd imagine Zaha will revise his opinion upon seeing the incident again. That would have been cause for zero consolation to Palace, who shifted into damage-limited mode. The second half was a non-event, Conte using the opportunity to rest key men Kane and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg ahead of Tuesday's game visit to Southampton. Yet there was still room for a Tottenham third, Maura setting up Son to score with his final touch before being substituted in the 75th minute to put the result beyond any doubt.